Good afternoon from Big Sky Country. I'm Stacy, owner of Montana Used Bricks, and I have not done a video since October when I did the Lego event here in Helena. I haven't done a video because I've had a lot of other things going on and the business kind of took secondary to everything else. I had a lot of job stress to the point that I nearly quit a job that I've had for 29 years. But luckily that started to work out, and then I had some health issues because of the stress from work, and then the holidays hit. So it's just been one thing after another. I'm happy to say that work is going better. The stress is a lot less. I'm starting to get my health back. I'm starting to walk again. And I'm also starting to focus more on the business, which is why I'm finally doing a video. I do have some little snippets I'm going to add at the end of this. I was going to do a vlog in the fall, and then I was going to do one in December. And I didn't because I didn't record enough, but I do have a couple of things I will throw on this. But basically, I'm just here to say I'm still here. I'm still working on the business. Like I said, we didn't close it down. We continued to get sales. We continued to do a little bit of inventory here and there. 2025 ended up being a fairly good year for sales. So any of you that are watching that bought from my store in 2025, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. You made it a good year for us, even with everything else that was going on. I am definitely not going to stand here and say I'm going to start doing videos on a regular basis, but maybe. We'll see. I do have another Lego event scheduled for April, which I'm excited about. I'm even getting some flyers printed that should be here in the next week or two. I didn't get that many because printing flyers is very expensive, but I thought it might be good for business. I mentioned Bricklink, YouTube, and eBay, and then on the back of the flyer I have basically what is Bricklink. So hopefully not only does it drum up business for me, but maybe for other stores out there as well. So I'm just going to jump into these other videos because I really want to get this uploaded and out there for you guys, so you know I'm still here and I'm still plugging away. Just sometimes the business is just not the priority in my life, and I'm starting to feel okay with that. I used to feel bad when I couldn't work on the business or do the YouTube videos, but you know what? I'm at the age now, you just be happy with what you get. So as a lot of you might know from watching my channel, I do not call out stores that I'm unhappy with, just because I think especially Bricklink stores that are selling used parts especially, it's hard. I know, because that's what I do. My husband and I traveled out of town this weekend, and we went to an actual Lego store. I got a bunch of sets. I'm really excited about that. But we also found this place. It's kind of like Bricks and Minifig, except for it's not franchised. They have a different name. Like I said, not going to call out the name, although I'm very tempted to. We went in there just to look around. We weren't very impressed just because of the prices that they were selling things for, but we understand that they have to pay for their employees and their space and all of that stuff, but it just seemed like it was even higher than what it should be. As we were looking around, they had quite a few used sets built that were for sale, and they all seemed pretty reasonable. This set, however, they had in a box, and my husband has been collecting the Monster Fighter series for quite a while, and I would say that he has probably all but 3 or 4 of these, and that haunted house being one of them that he doesn't have, which is also the biggest set. So that's probably why we never got around to building that one or getting all the parts for it to build it. All of these sets here that he has, we got all the parts either from our inventory or from buying on Bricklink. So back to this. They had it on the shelf. They had it on the shelf for $380. This used sells on Bricklink for about $370, right in there. So we thought, well, that's really not that bad. And we had looked at it. We went outside. We looked it up on Bricklink. We looked to see what the minifigs were, how much the minifigs were going for. We checked to see what kind of sand green parts are in this set. we did our research. So we went back in and we said, hey, we're really interested in this, but we'd really like to look at the minifigs and some of the parts just to see. Now, the first thing we noticed right away, because we knew that it used bluish gray, because for some reason we saw that, when we went in to get it, there was all these parts that looked like light gray, and they were saying, oh, they're just faded parts. But you can see here, this is an actual light bluish gray. This looks more like light gray, and those around it. It was just these parts here, so we thought, you know what, we could replace those easily. We asked for a little bit off. They gave us $30 off, so we were paying $3.50. So we decided that we would just go ahead and buy the set, mainly because it had all the minifigures, it had the manuals, which were in pristine conditions. We're like, okay, this probably isn't a bad deal, because if we have to order the minifigs and a lot of the parts, then we're gonna have to be paying shipping anyway to get those parts from Bricklink, which I'm sure you're all familiar with. Here's the thing. I told my husband I would work on these light bluish gray, light gray parts, just because first I was going to resell them, but now we're not sure if they're light gray or just faded. We're just gonna put them in our filler box. But as I'm going through and I am trying to pull parts that were good, were the right color, weren't faded, weren't scratched, weren't chewed on, I was also pulling parts from my own inventory to kind of fill in the gap. But here's the thing. They said that all the parts were there, and I think my first red flag should have been that this set wasn't together. All the other used sets they had were together on the shelf. This was just in a box. And this is some of the stuff that was not in there, was not faded, was not in what they had. And this is just the light bluish gray. My husband hasn't checked the rest of the parts yet. So these bricks that are 1 by 2 by 2 with the inside stud holder, there was only 6 of those. And out of the 6, there was only 5 that were stud holders. And then there was this one that was clearly an axle holder. Those weren't in there as faded. There was just 6 of them, period. So they were missing 40 of them. Luckily I had quite a few of those in stock, so I don't have to get as many. The brick 2 by 2 corner, not in there at all, not faded. 22 of those were missing. The round bricks, again, there was 2 of them in there. They were faded, couldn't use them, so I was missing 35 of those. Again, pulled some out of my inventory. And then the one that got me was the inverted slope here. A couple of those, yes, were faded or light gray or however you want to say it, but I happen to know there was not 90 of them in there. There was like maybe 7, and I pulled 7 out of my own inventory. So we really got screwed, especially since, you know, we live 4.5 hours away, and there's no way for us to take it back and say, hey, we want our money back without wasting a bunch of money to do it. So we're just going to move forward. But as I said at the beginning of this, I have never, since I started my YouTube channel, wanted to call out a business by name so bad. And my husband's like, don't do it. I said, I'm not going to, but I really want to, just because if they're doing this to somebody who knows what they're doing, I feel bad for those people that are buying things that aren't as familiar with Lego and how things work. That's just what I wanted to share with you. I had to vent. I've got it out. I can move on now, and we'll just start ordering parts off of Bricklink. Made another Facebook Marketplace purchase, and I'm hoping it's going to turn out to be a good one. It's mostly Bionicle parts, which often sell well, and some of the weapons and stuff are usually fairly pricey. I'm going to be parting this out tonight. The other thing that was in it was this Boba Fett, and I did a little bit of research, and it does look like he's selling for $44 used. However, he's missing his cape, and he's missing the antenna from his head. We do have some parts that might be his weapon, but I'm not sure. But I did look, and parting him out might bring me a little bit of a profit. We're going to find out. I'm going to start going through this stuff and start adding it to Brickstore, and I'll let you know how I did. Good morning. I wanted to give you an update on how things are going with this Bionicle haul that I got last night. I put 85 lots in last night, 130 parts for $62. And there were some pretty good finds in there. Of course, the Boba Fett head was over $6. The one thing that kind of surprised me was this orange armor without the decal on it was over $4, but with the decal it was less than $2, which I found a little confusing. But you can see that there was a bunch of things that were over $1 that I was able to pull out of that haul. And this is all that I have left. I have a few more of the Bionicle parts, but then I have a lot of the Technic parts and pins and connectors that need to go in as well. But I'm going to be working on this morning. I'm really hoping to finish this afternoon so that I can feel good about the profit that I made. I paid the guy $20, and just the Boba Fett parts, which was actually missing a lot, was still $38. The Boba Fett itself was worth it, but we want to see if we can make it even more worth it with these parts. I am done putting the Bionicle parts into inventory. I just did another upload, and this was 207 parts in 78 lots for $30. There was a couple of good finds in that, not as many as the first one, but I'm not going to complain. There was still quite a bit there. I would say overall that was a really good Lego haul. I spent $20, and if everything sells, I will make a profit of $78. Remember when I said we went to an actual Lego store last weekend? We did. And these are the 3 sets I bought. I got the vending machine, the Game Boy, and the Sherlock Holmes book nook. We used all of our VIP points, so all of this was not as much as you would think it was, considering my husband buys the big sets like Titanic and Eiffel Tower. We had quite a few VIP points. Because I was still in vacation mode when I got back, and still apparently in spend money I don't have mode, I went to Target and got 2 more sets. I got the retro radio and the Walt Disney tribute camera. My grandson has the tribute camera and he wants to keep that. He won't give it to me no matter how much I beg, so I had to get my own. I woke up at 3 this morning with a migraine, and I've been just trying to sleep ever since. It didn't work, and it's 6.5 hours later. So it's 10:30. I've done nothing today. I figured since I don't feel good, I'm just going to do some sorting. I'm putting these 1x2 bricks into stacks of 10, so they're easy to count, plus they're easy to look at to pull out any scratched or non-Lego parts. I have found a couple. Surprisingly, I've pulled those out. I think I'm going to put on a movie or something, or maybe start rewatching Stranger Things since the next season comes out on Thanksgiving. I want to refresh myself on that show, so maybe I'll start watching that again. Or maybe I'll just watch some mindless videos on YouTube. So yesterday I just got in the mood to put Lego together, but I wasn't in the mood to deal with my jazz club. I started out with the smallest set I had, which was the Star Wars set. Then I moved to the corner kiosk, the retro hot dog food truck, the retro phone. Now the interesting thing with the retro phone is I had to look up the instructions online. Why, you ask? Because this book went from step 7 over to step 17, and it's so messed up. There's duplicate pages, there's missing pages. It was just a mess. It wasn't even anything I could decipher, so I just went online and downloaded the instructions, and it came together pretty good. What I'd like to do though is replace all the parts in tan and do a phone that's similar to the ones I used to work with early on in my job, but I don't think I'll be able to do it because of these unique pieces here. I don't know, I'll have to look and see, but I just thought it would be cool to do it in tan. And that wasn't the only ones. I also started on the cat, which is this one here. I got quite a ways on that before I got tired and went back in the house. I have about 45 minutes before I have to log in to work, so I thought maybe I would put a few more parts into inventory. I did quite a bit last weekend. I put in probably almost 2,000 parts last weekend, and then this week I really haven't done much of anything, so I'm going to try to get back in the swing of it and get some of this done. I'd like to get more done this weekend, but I do have an event that I volunteer for that I need to help set up and take down, so we'll see. I am about ready to upload 155 parts in 100 lots for $75. And the reason for this is there was a bunch of good finds. And this was a small lot. I got this lot from a coworker. They were just cleaning out before they moved, and her boyfriend had this old box of Lego, so she gave it to me. I didn't think we were going to get much for it because it was such a small lot, but there were some great finds in that. You can see the stump was almost $6, a bunch of $3 parts, and a bunch of $1 parts. And I really did not expect to get this much for this little bit of Lego that she gave me, because I have been pulling out a bunch of parts. This bag here is just parts that are too scratched up to sell in my store. And like I said, there was not much to begin with, so when I started pulling these out, I was afraid I wouldn't be getting my money's worth. There were some minifigures in there that did make it worthwhile, but as for parts, I didn't think I would break even, but I definitely am now. I am getting ready to do another upload of 393 parts in 100 lots for $41. There was one really great find in this, which is this light bluish gray connector for almost $7, and then there was a couple of pieces that were over $1. As I keep saying, those are awesome to find. This will be my first upload of November, which means I'm starting out strong. I had a couple of months there that I didn't upload much, but in October I did quite a bit of uploading, so we've actually bumped our store inventory back up. October was an extremely slow month for us, but we did get some orders right at the end, so I'm hoping that will help us out a little bit, because I have been spending quite a bit of money lately on the business between the Lego event I did at the beginning of the month and a couple of Lego purchases. So this is a first. I have been doing this for over 10 years, and I just had somebody who sent me a message that says I sent them metallic gold parts instead of pearl gold, which I know is not true. For one thing, all 3 of those parts have never come in metallic gold. And this is a fairly new user. They've only bought from Bricklink 14 times. And I'm going to assume they're not aware of the variations in the colors of the pearl gold. Kind of like dark red and reddish brown. They have tons of very different hues of those colors. So I did send her a response, and you can pause the video if you want to read the whole thing, but basically that's what I told her, was that, hey, look, these are definitely pearl gold. I looked, they don't even come in those colors. I explained how she could look that up for herself. And then I did find a YouTube short that also shows the variations of the colors of pearl gold over the years. So I'm really hoping that she understands that I did not screw up the order, that I tried my best, but there is no way I'm going to be going through all my pearl gold and sorting out the variations, because what do you say? I don't know which is the newer pearl gold, which is the older pearl gold. And as a used seller, if you're also a used seller, you know what a pain in the butt that would be to have to sort out all those variations and put that in the description as well. Maybe I'm way off base here. Maybe you guys already do that. If you do, please put it in the comments below. If you think it's something I should be doing, put that in the comments, because I would be curious how you guys would have handled this. Okay, there's a little bit of an update to this pearl gold situation. She was not pleased with the information I sent her. She sent back that if these were pearl gold, they should have been listed separately in the notes, and she still thinks that they are a different color or have been damaged or treated so that it came out as a different color, none of which is true. So my one and only response to her was that I would be refunding the money for all the pearl gold in her order, whether or not she complained about it, because I did not want to get a negative, and it was just easier to just send her the money and move on with my day. But again, I would be really, really curious how you guys would have handled this. If you guys pull out the pearl gold that maybe is darker than the others or lighter than the others, sell them separately, I would be really curious what you do. Because like I said, I've been doing this for 10 years, never had an issue, and I believe I'm in the right, but it's very possible that I am completely off base. Thank you for taking the time to watch my video. I really appreciate it. If you like this video and the content that I'm putting out, please hit that thumbs up button. If you really liked it, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video, whenever that may be. Bye.